I'm going to go through what I would kind of define as the 10 commandments of advertising. And these are things that I have learned from people like Alex Hormozi. Is anyone familiar with Alex Hormozi? Okay. Has anyone read his books? $100 Million Leads, $100 Million? Okay, cool. I know you definitely have. I'll give you a little backstory of where I came from and just to kind of provide some context and why I'm where I'm at right now. So, random facts about me. I was homeschooled my entire life. First class I ever went to was freshman year in college. That was the first time I ever went. If you're wondering, was that hard for me? No, it was not. My parents did an amazing job preparing me. I was pretty much done with high school at the age of 14, 15, and then I was pretty much just practicing baseball and getting ready for college. That was it. I went to college not for smarts, but for baseball, and I will always be that guy. So I ended up getting decent grades, enough to make sure that I could continue to play and maintain my scholarship, but I was not there for school. I was definitely there for baseball. I ended up having the opportunity. I got what I call a cup of coffee in the Phillies organization afterwards, signed as a free agent, played a little bit of professional baseball over in Clearwater. And then I got released and was like, I'm 23 years old. I've devoted my life since the age of 8 to 23 to one thing. And now it's time to move on and do something else. And so I went into behavioral science and kind of behavioral analysis, worked for a company that did behavior assessments, and we worked with companies like Raytheon, and we went with their C-level suite, and we taught them how to flex their behavior, how to recognize behavior, and how to change it and adapt it so that they weren't boring and that they could actually influence people. So we did a lot of that stuff. And then I ended up switching completely and went over to the gym business, and I ended up being a partner in a gym over in Tampa, in West Chase, Tampa. I knew nothing about business, even though my degree was in business, and that gym sucked. It did not. We were really good at pretty much one thing, and that was getting people results, but we were terrible at advertising, terrible at marketing. And then I had the genius idea to go ahead and come up here to St. Augustine and start a gym, another one. Again, not learning from my mistakes. So ended up starting a gym about 20 minutes north of here, 15 minutes north of here in World Golf Village. And started that in 2015, and for 2 straight years, I was losing roughly $2,000 to $3,000 a month. Rough, right? Yeah, like brutal. And so I was trying everything I possibly could. I was pretty hard-headed. I didn't know really anything about advertising. I didn't know anything about marketing. I didn't know anything about attracting more clients. I just was that type of person that I was like, if I build it, they will come, which is the greatest and worst. It's the biggest myth and fallacy out there when it comes to business or really anything that you want to create, whether it's a product, a book, anything, your services. No one knows who we are. Like, no one knows who I am still. And we are the largest company in our space and have been for the last almost decade. And still no one knows about it. Fun fact, when I built our outbound system here at Gym Launch starting in 2020, when I built it, I thought that when we started cold calling gyms in the United States and pretty much North America, that at least most gyms would know about us. 9 out of 10 gyms that we talked to, and we talked to 33,000 gyms in just about 18 months. 9 out of 10 had no idea who we are, who we were, or had ever heard of us. They didn't know Alex Hormozi, they didn't know anybody. And so I say that for now for context of like why advertising, in my opinion, is one of the most important things that you can do in your business. To take it back to the gym that I had, I was floundering. I was 8 weeks from shutting my doors. We were losing thousands of dollars a month, and I ended up seeing an ad from a guy named Alex Hormozi talking about how he was filling gyms to capacity, helping them sell high-ticket fitness packages, and I was like, you know what? This place is burning down. I might as well go down swinging. So I was like, let's give it one last shot. And so I signed up. I had no money. I had to put it on a credit card, put $1,000 on it, which may not seem like a lot to some of y'all, but for me, that was way more than I had. And told my wife, I signed up, went back to my wife, who wasn't working with me in the gym at the time. She was a bartender. We had a 1-year-old who couldn't sleep more than 3 hours in the night, and we lived in a 1-bedroom studio, and the previous year, our combined tax returns were less than $30,000 combined. So you want to talk about broke? Broke is a joke. Didn't know anything, and I was at my wit's end, and I just back against the wall, signed up on a Friday, hop in the portal, started learning everything, consuming it. And this is back when we had to run our own ads and we had to do all the stuff ourselves. They provided the steps to do it. I go in, I shoot my ads Saturday morning, myself and my wife. We get it set, I get the copy up, I get the funnel up, I do all the stuff Saturday afternoon, and I sit there and I click go. Right before I did that, I almost threw up and almost said no, but I clicked go. 30 minutes later, I get a ding on the phone, and it's a lead. And then it's ding, 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 ding. Over the next 10 days, I got about 340 leads, which may not sound like a ton, but those 340 leads turned into $38,000 in cash in 10 days. And my gym went from 31 members to 106 members in 10 days. And then from there, my wife and I she came in full time, and we ended up scaling our business and our gym and growing it from roughly 31 members to about 250 as the highest price facility in the area by far, a large group training facility, and we scaled that and then sold it in 2019. We did all of that we really did it in about 8 months. We scaled the team, all that. To bring you to where I am now, I joined Gym Launch on the ground floors as a salesperson. I had no aspirations or any idea that I would ever be in this role that I'm in right now. I had no idea this was even possible because Alex, to me, at the time, was such a massive figure, as he is for those of you that know him still. I was like, there's no way there's ever a position for this. And I just wanted to learn. I wanted to learn how to sell. I wanted to learn how to run a company. I wanted to learn more. And I was very, obviously, convicted about the product itself and the service that we had because it changed my life. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go in and I'm going to see if I can help. I shoot Alex a DM one day, and I'm like, hey, I saw your job posting. You're looking for an inside salesperson. Send me your deck, because I knew they used slide decks for sales. And I was like, I'll do it for free. Just send it to me, and I'll do it. And he's like, well, I need someone full-time. And I was like, well, I have a full-time job, because I had to get a full-time job to put food on the table, by the way. This was before I even signed up with Gym Launch. And he was like, well, I need someone full-time. So I looked at it, go through the interview process, become a salesperson, sell $2 million in contracts in my first 20 days. And then from there, became sales manager 3 months later. From there, built the team. We did millions of dollars in sales from that, and then went over to the coaching side, and so built a coaching team of about 30 people for a new product that we were rolling out to the entire community. And then was there for about, I'm trying to think, like 8 months. And then 2020, January, I get promoted to GM of Gym Launch. And then everything hits the fan. Yeah, we had record month in January, record month in February, and then it was like March 17th, I remember. And I just remember tracking the news. We went to a ClickFunnels event, I think it was February that year in Nashville, and I started hearing about all this stuff that's coming. I was in Park City like earlier in the year too, like January, and started hearing about it. Rumblings, we're not sure. Around March 17th, everything comes to a screeching halt. All of our clients, hundreds of them, are shut down and told that they can't operate their businesses. And so I fly out to Austin, where Alex was, and in 3 days, we took all of our clients and we shifted them. We built an entire new portal, built everything else. In 3 days, we were working roughly 20 hours for 3 straight days, just rebuilding everything. And we took them from brick and mortar to online, flipped them. And then from there, it was survival. It was hold on and just try to survive and adapt as much as we possibly could. During that, I learned a ton. Alex told me when it happened, he was like, I'm not coming in to save you. I'll help, but I'm not gonna come in and save you. This is your job. And that was one of the greatest things he ever could have done for me. And he's been an amazing mentor to me. I get to sit with him every week and learn from him for 4+ years and still stay in contact with him. And so we sold to a private equity firm called American Pacific Group for $46.2 million on December 24th, 2021, and that's when I became the CEO. Over the 2 years that I've been CEO, for 2 fiscal years, we've doubled Gym Launch, top line and bottom line. And a lot of that is due to the lessons that I've learned and the power of advertising. Okay, so quick background on me for context. Cool? For context, when it comes to advertising, I have managed or spent over $10 million myself on our own business. This does not count other people's money because we also have an agency that runs roughly $6 to $8 million a year that we run for brick and mortar gyms, and we will run advertising for them. And so just strictly speaking on our side, managed and run over 10 million. So bless you. So we'll see. Now, today's presentation, what we go through, I was telling Rob and Terry earlier, there's 3 options on today's presentation. There's 3 ways this is gonna go. This will either be the greatest presentation you ever see, the worst presentation you ever hear, or somewhere in the middle. And I can guarantee you will be one of those 3. Cool? We good with that? Awesome. All right. Now, commandment number 1. I'm a believer. I know Rob is too. And as I was thinking about this, as I was going through, I was like, man, there's lots of different ways I could go. He's like, you should come in and talk about business, advertising, all this stuff. And I was like, that's really broad. I need a little bit of focus and I need something to hit. Because usually when I'm giving a presentation, I'm trying to influence people to take action. And so for me, my goal is today that I can at least show you some of the lessons that I've learned and some of the concepts that I follow when it comes to advertising. I think advertising, specifically paid advertising, because marketing and advertising are different. I think advertising, paid advertising, is the simplest and easiest way to grow your business and get the highest ROI. And it's also the fastest, because nowhere in life can you go, put a little money in, spend a little bit of time, and get thousands, if not millions of eyeballs seeing what you're offering. And I think it's by far one of the most underrated for most people. And it's not as complicated as what most people would think that it is. Okay? So we're going to go through some thou shalts. My goal here is to do positive thou shalts, not negative ones. So this is not a thou shalt not. This is thou shalt always do these. Okay? We have what we call internally a marketing Bible that Alex wrote for us. And I'm going to walk through a lot of these. So number one that we have is thou shalt master one channel at a time. This is really important. And what I mean by channel is this. There are 4 ways, really just 4 simple ways that you can advertise. Those of you that have read $100 Million Leads, right? Y'all understand. These are the core 4, and I'll lay it out for everybody real quick if you haven't read it. So there are 4 primary ways that you can do this. You've got warm outreach. These are people that you know, your contacts, your audience, everyone else. You have cold outreach. These are people that don't know you. And things like cold calling, cold DMing, all that stuff. Then you've got free content. So we'll just say posting free content. And then you have paid advertising. This is really it. This is really the only way you can advertise for your business. There's only 4 ways. Now, you can scale these and do these in lots of different ways and use different mediums, but there are really only 4 ways to be able to do this. Now, these are typically one-to-one. These are one-to-many. I'm going to see if I can do an infinity symbol. Let's see if I can do that. Kind of. There we go. So that's one-to-many. Now, when you think about these, warm outreach can't scale unless you have a massive audience. It's a good way to start getting people to purchase, but it's one of the hardest ways to scale because unless your audience is millions of people, it's very hard to do warm outreach unless you have a massive Rolodex of people that are going to buy. Good way to start. Cold outreach, you should never do cold outreach if your LTV is less than $10,000. Like, don't start cold calling or doing cold outreach from a cold calling standpoint and thinking about building that out unless your client's LTV, your average lifetime value of a client for you, is at least $10,000. If it's not at least $10,000, you will lose money. And this is coming from a guy that had to build an outbound team from scratch and had to go through all of the processes of building out dialing, emails, everything. Now, you can do cold email, you can do cold outreach on DMs, social media, you can do all those things. Those are just going to require time. And then the way that you scale that is you just hire people to now do more of it. Okay? Posting free content. This is one that is talked about a lot. This is the thing, in my opinion, that everyone should be doing it. Who here posts content regularly? Trainings, how-tos, all that stuff. Okay. This positions you as an expert, and really all it does is increase trust so that your paid ads actually make you money. Does that make sense? Because what happens, how many of you go out and you see an ad, you click on it, you're curious, you go to the funnel, you check it out, you don't buy, obviously. Like, who buys in the first time? Like, come on, we're not suckers. All right? So what do? You go to where? Where do you go to check them out?
Their website.
Website,
Yeah,
right?
You cross-reference
Google, socials, IG, Facebook, website. You go to Trustpilot. You look up Google reviews. You look up all these different things. Because you want to know, can this person solve the problem that I have? And have they done it before? And what are other people saying about it? Right? The power of social proof. And so this is a way for you to be able to obviously get more eyeballs, but this is a long play. And unfortunately, I don't know about, does anybody post free content thinking that they're going to make a lot of money from it? I heard a laugh. Okay. Anybody else? Like, this is your kind of main strategy, right? Yeah. So you can long term. This is really hard though when you first get started, right? Very hard. But if you do it over time, you can get there. But the easiest way to do this is through paid ads. Because you can have a direct offer, you can build out a very simple landing page, you can solve someone's problem, and you can get in front of thousands, millions of people. And if you have free content, a great website, or good Instagram, or whatever it is that you want to send people to, it's just going to increase your conversions. Okay? When I say master one channel, thou shalt master one channel. Do not try to do all of these. Like, start with one. Master that and get really good. You can get to $1 million, $2 million, $3 million really on just one channel. We got to $24 million a year on Gym Launch off one channel. One channel. Yes?
Can you talk more about paid ads? Because I've tried paid ads
Yeah.
with people who make businesses and nothing happens.
Yeah.
So how do I find the right people?
Perfect. I can talk about that. I'm going to go through these 10 commandments, and then I think that's a perfect breakdown for the Q&A, because I can walk through that. But there's going to be some tips on this as we go through this. Yeah, because that's all it is today about paid ads. You can take the same stuff to your content, your like organic content, your free content. You can use the same concepts, but paid ads by far is the easiest way to scale. So commandment number 1, you have to think of this as there's 4 ways to do this, but we only have to focus on one. Only focus on one. And knowing the context of what it takes to do this will help you understand which one should I go for, right? Paid ads, if you have an expert, someone who knows how to do this, you should hire them and have them do this. Now, understanding that, again, you need social proof. You need to understand, do they have a proven track record? Do I even have an offer that's good enough, that is worth me actually testing paid ads? Do I have a funnel set in place, a sales funnel, to where I can nurture people and close them? Because a lot of times, marketers and advertising agencies actually do their job. I'm going to say something that a lot of people don't, that usually when I talk to gym owners, they hate me saying this, but usually most agencies and marketers actually do a fantastic job. They do their job. Their job is to only do one thing: get you leads, not get people to buy. That's your job. Your job is to get them to show and close. That's not their job. And so a lot of times kind of this idea of, and this is where I was when I was a gym owner, I thought leads meant new members in my gym. I just thought they were one and the same. But there's multiple steps in this. But paid ads, when we talk about leads in the first step, paid ads, in my opinion, is by far the best way, okay? If you try to master all of these at the same time, you're going to struggle. And just like Rob was just talking about going all in on something, don't half-ass it. If you try to do all 4 of these, you will half-ass all of them. In fact, you will quarter-ass all of them, because there's 4 of them. So, and that is way worse than half-assing it, okay? So don't do that, all right? Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, we're gonna get into some details on like copy and all this stuff. So it'll kind of be, hopefully, at least a valuable masterclass on some things that you should do. Just pretend that I wrote thou shalt on this, so that is there, okay? Number 2 is only say what you can say, and I'll get into this. And only show what you can show. This is really, really important. And it sounds very simple, but most marketers mess this up. And here's what I mean. I'll read these off to you. Here at Gym Launch, when we advertise, here's some numbers that we have from our facilities and from our clients. When we advertise, we will pick 1 or 2 of these, and we will use these in our ads. But when we talk about saying and showing, what we can only say and show is these are the results that we have that no one else can promise or get. For example, one of these is we built over 200 7-figure, $1 million a year gyms. We have more $1 million gym owners built through our program than every other coaching program combined. That's currently around. So that's one way to do it. No one else can say that. And we have the proof and we can show it. We have the list of names, we have their awards, we have proof from them on their bank statements that they have reached the 7-figure mark. And so we have that. The second thing is we have served over 6,000 gyms in 28 countries. No one else can say that. There's lots of people that have served 1,000, 1,500. We are by far, we're like what Alex used to refer us as the 800-pound gorilla in the industry. We're the largest by far. Okay, another stuff. These are average stats that we have. Our average client, when they join us in their first year, increases their revenue by $216,000 a year. For context, Who here is doing $1 million or more a year? Okay, who's doing around $500,000 a year? Okay, anyone doing over $5 million a year? Okay. The average gym, for context here, the average gym in the United States, this is clubs and studios, does $22,000 a month top line, so gross, with 10.5% net margins. Brutal. Brutal. They also have they are the second most likely type of business to fail. 81% chance of failure. Why? When you think about gyms, what do you think? It's just commodity. It's like I just go and get a key card access, I go in, I work out, I go to the treadmills, I leave, all this stuff, right? Tons of churn, and most of the time gym owners get into this business because they're passionate about it, they just suck at business, like me, like I was. And not realizing that when they get into this, it is a business, I have to treat it like a business. And so one of the things that we do is our average gym owner adds $105,000 in new profit after they pay us in the first 12 months. The average gym owner in the United States takes home roughly around $33,000 a year. That's after add backs of phone, car insurance, and other things that they have inside of the business. And so most of them are broke as a joke. They would make more working at Starbucks. But they're very passionate, and they're some of the hardest working people in the world, and that's why I love working with gym owners, because I was a former one. But when I can say this, no one else can say this at all. No one comes close to this, okay? Another thing is we decrease churn for our gyms by 50%. We cut it in half, usually within 3 months. And so they double their LTV of their clients, and they do all of this by also increasing their average price per member by $79 a month. So they have the best of both worlds. They raise their prices and they keep their clients longer. I'm going through all of these as an example of these are things that we can say and we can show that no one else can do. And so I'm curious for anyone right now, and I'm going to pause real quick for some feedback on this. Crowd interaction. What are some of the things that you can say, and you can take a second, that you can say or show that no one else in your industry or what you do can say? What proof do you have? And what does it mean? This is why, like for us, we spend so much time on data from our clients because that's the logical side. I can get into the emotional side about how, for me, I was waking up at 4 o'clock every single morning, getting to the gym. I never had dinner with my 1-year-old at all in her first year during the week. It was only on the weekends because I was working. I wake up, I barely see her. I come home, I never see her. I'm basically a ghost in the night, just passing. Only time I really got to hang out with her was when she was screaming her head off at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? And it was the worst time of my life. And we could talk about the emotional side of that and how that all switched, but there's also a logical side. And you need to also be able to advertise and touch on that point and be able to showcase it. So I'm curious, does anybody have anything that you do that's different? Yes.
So I was in a family business that was 120 years old. My father sold it, went bankrupt. We started it again 2 years later.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, went bankrupt. So we started at zero in 1986 and grew it to 1.3 billion by 2019.
Let's go. That's awesome. I love it. So you went from, oh yeah, B word. I love it. You went from 120 years to bankruptcy, right? To then building $1 billion company.
Yes.
In, what was the time frame? 19 years?
No.
20? When was it?
Closer to 20 years.
Yeah.
1986 to 2019.
There's not too many people that have built $1 billion company in 20 years.
40.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's awesome. Who else?
We have the best ratio on the punch list that build homes for Ryan Pulte Homes because our builders are Amish and their craftsmanship is just impeccable.
How can you prove that?
Ryan Pulte have given me the percentages, the numbers from them, and said that's why we continue to hire you because we just can't find builders like your company.
So what I would want to see in an advertising is you would turn that into data and stats on we are X percentage faster or better or more reliable than all other builders or anything else, right? And so you would turn that into data to show the increase or how much you save people, turn it into money, turn it into something else. That would showcase why they should choose you over someone else, right? Because just saying it, and this is what's really important too, is just saying it is one thing. Now, the reason why, it's also not just say, you have to show it. And so it's say it and show it, right? don't just tell people about it, you also have to show it to them. How many of you would just trust me if I was just up here and I just said the most outlandish things? Like, to be real, I'm probably going to check you out. Right? Like, that's so absurd. I'm going to be like, yeah. And you have a ton of conviction, and I trust you, but I'm probably still going to look you up.
Absolutely.
Right?
Please do.
And I think all of you should have the same mentality. And guess what? Your consumers do as well, because they're not dumb. And it's really important to make sure that we not just say it, we also have to show it and give proof. Is this making sense? Yeah. Tracking with me? Okay. Rob, what's something for you that you can say that no one else can say, and you have the proof for?
For bestseller publishing, it would be the number of bestsellers that we've launched over the last 10 years, over 2,000 best-selling clients, best-selling books, etc. I'd have to get a more exact count rather than saying just over 2,000.
Yeah, but that's great, though. You have at least a starting number.
Yeah.
Have y'all noticed that you're probably more likely to believe an exact number over something else?
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm actually in the process of trying to track down the exact number of $1 million gyms that we have. So I can say, like, we have 213, we have 275. I'm like still trying to go back because we've had people added to the list constantly. And so I need to get back, and I have our team on that right now. But like, imagine if I'm up there and like, we have 260 as of today. You read an ad, as of today, if you're seeing this ad, we have 263 seven-figure gyms created. Right? And then imagine, I'm going to make a lead magnet out of this. Imagine you go in and you actually download and you see all the names, all the people, where they're at, and how much money they made. All right? A little bit more proof. And so now it's a lot more believable in your advertising. All right? Yes?
I kind of want to give you an example.
Please.
I built a $100 million company,
Love it.
lost it in 2008, went to prison on a 10-year federal prison sentence for white collar. Back building a business again, we're at about $20 million in value today in 4 years. I almost think, and I talk about it publicly all the time,
Should.
but I almost think that at some level that there's a resistance to that. After I've made all these mistakes, I know all this, more educated and more knowledgeable today. I talk about it a lot, but I almost wonder if it's too much.
No. You're damaging admissions, and I'll get to this. That's one of my commandments.
Say it again?
Damaging admissions. It's one of the commandments I'll talk about. It's one of the most important things that you should do. Because you need to be the person, you need to own your flaws and your successes more than anyone else.
Your mess is your message.
Yes, exactly. And so like that, how many people have built a $100 million business, then gone to jail, and then come back and built? Prison. It's funny, my father-in-law was a correctional officer for 25 years in upstate New York, and he would probably correct me and tell me the exact same thing. So how many people have done that and gone on and then built a very successful company, right? Not many. Having pictures and show proof of you going through this journey. And one of the things, if y'all ever, my suggestion would be for everyone, is to subscribe to Alex Hormozi's YouTube channel. If you ever watch his presentations, he will show you screenshots of his bank account when he had I think it was like $1,200 in his bank account, and he took a screenshot of it. He still has it, and he shows it in presentations. This is the lowest point in my life, he said, and from there I promised I would never have that little in my bank account again. And he had people coming after him, payment processor took all his money, all this stuff, had to restart. But like, he has pictures and proof through all of this. Pictures of him sleeping on the floor of his gym. We used that in sales, the gym launch. We had a picture of it, and there was literally a rolled up blanket, like sleeping bag with a pillow in the middle of his floor. And that's where he used to sleep. And so having that and showing pictures and documenting this is one of the most powerful things that you can do in advertising. And I don't think it's too much, because what you're going to be doing is advertising is all about really drawing a line. And marketing is drawing a line. And you're drawing a line in the sand, and you are stating who you are and who you want to work with. And it is just as important to talk about who you want to work with as well as who you do not work with. And both of those are extremely important and work really well. And so drawing that line in the sand is very important, because you probably don't want to work with everyone. You want to work with the people that are going to be the best for you. What industry are you in?
Say it again?
What industry are you in?
Real estate.
Yeah. In some form, it's for everyone, but there's also an aspect of it where you have a specific ideal client profile and avatar that you want to work with. Okay, the next one is thou shalt always evoke Emotion. Specifically through your copy and your creative. I'll give you some examples. Well, think about this real quick. When y'all are watching the Super Bowl and you're watching advertising, which are the most memorable ones? Just think about just in broad terms. You don't have to give me the exact ones, but for you, when you think about the best Super Bowl commercials or the best ads, what are they?
Yeah,
Humor, right? It's funny. Right? There's also others that you've probably seen where it hits you right in the feels, right? How many of you have gotten suckered in by the one where it's talking about the dogs and like they're just sitting there with their little puppy eyes and it's the background music, right? And it's just like, hey, like, can you donate, save a dog or something like that? Anybody else, right? It evokes emotion. All of your images and all of your videos have to evoke some sort of emotion. Now, there's two different ways that you can go. You can go the negative. Like for us, if I'm going to run an ad for a gym owner and I want to go on the negative side, I'll show a picture of an empty gym from one of our gym owners. I will not use stock photos. Stock photos suck. Don't ever use stock photos. Please don't. They don't create emotion because we all know a stock photo when we see it, do we not? We all see something that's created. What we want are raw, authentic pictures. And so we'll actually get pictures from our gym owners. We'll scour their Facebook for pictures, or if they post it inside of our group, or we look them up, we will look for those pictures. And one of the best ads that we ever had was a gym owner that was sitting on the ground inside of his gym, and his gym was completely empty. And we just posted it, wrote some copy around his story, and that thing blew up. Another one that is one of the greatest performing ads, and I say that because it actually was, not because it was my testimonial, but I shot a testimonial. I'm outside of my gym with my wife. So now you've got a couple, you got the family dynamic. I didn't even talk about how much money I made in the ad. It was about a 90-second to a minute, like 2-minute clip. And I only talked about the growth of the members that we had, but more importantly, I was now able to have dinner with my kids. I went from not being able to be there to dinner with my kids. I could pick them up from school. I could take them to school every morning. I had the weekends free. We built an entire team. I now had freedom. I didn't have to coach classes for the first time in my life. And we ran that ad into the ground for 9 straight months. And it was the top performing one. But no matter what, your images and your creative when you're advertising has to create an emotion. And if you don't feel it, your prospects won't either. And the whole goal when you're creating any type of video or image is to get the person that is reading that to think that this person, whoever wrote this ad, this company, this brand, this person, gets me. They understand me. And so that's why for us, we don't, and this is like a big stickler for me because it happens every now and then, our marketing team will slip in like a stock photo. I'm like, they don't work, take it out. You cannot post any stock photos. It always has to be organically created through your own clients, through testimonials, through videos that you can create, all those things. But either way, it has to create some sort of emotion. Okay? Trying to think if I had anything else on this. The biggest thing, and I'll give you guys some, how many of y'all have lots of clients? Or how many of you run a monthly recurring revenue business? Anybody else? Okay. But everyone here has clients. You're selling something, correct? Okay, cool. Do y'all gather testimonials? I only see a couple head nods. You should grab testimonials from, everyone. Everyone. What's a testimonial? We have a Slack channel, or we use Slack for our clients, and we will take anything that a client says and use it as a testimonial. It doesn't matter. As long as it's a positive thing, it doesn't matter. So we use this thing where clients will come in, and gym owners are strapped for cash. I just told you they don't make a lot of money. They also don't make a lot of profit. Most people are broke when they come in. And our average client makes $25,000 in their first 30 days without spending any money on ads. And so anytime that they run through it, they'll drop a update. Their coach will hit them up and be like, hey, how do we do? And they'll drop an update. That's a testimonial. That's an ad. And now I can run all of those as ads. But for y'all, it's really important no matter what, is you have to create a process and an easy way for you to collect testimonials from your clients. And so when you do this, you can do UGC content, ask your clients to shoot a video for you, video testimonial. You can use Zoom to grab those. Those are not as great, by the way, as just someone literally just holding a camera and authentically speaking into the camera. That is by far the best type of testimonial and ad that you can get, hands down. You can also use pictures of before and afters. You can use all those. But either way, when you're grabbing these, and the reason I'm bringing this up right now is regarding emotion, is that create a process for you to consistently get testimonials and create an environment where your clients want to do that.
Just to share something with everybody, like a very inexpensive Sennheiser mic for $300 and a little DJ DJI stabilizer
Yeah.
for $125. We'll take your iPhone, like maybe 11 or higher. You can't go down to the 6 or 8s. But you can get really good quality, especially for internet. And taking that audio and stabilizing that video will make it look like a professional testimonial versus somebody doing this.
Yeah, but I will say this. I'm going to counter real quick. You're right. It needs to look good, and the audio needs to be clear. But the ones that perform the best, just like landing pages, just like everything else, are actually the most realist, authentic. If there's a little bit of wind in the background, like people want real. They want to know, because if I'm sitting there and I have a teleprompter and I'm reading, I'm direct to camera and I'm sitting down, there's less trust there. Because I'm not moving, I'm not talking, I don't seem like a real human being when I'm doing this. Everything seems staged, which is why for us, Zoom doesn't work that great for us, because we're sitting there and people see it and they're like, yeah, you are getting a testimony. What do you think this person's gonna say? Of course they're gonna say good things about you. Like, you're on Zoom. You're not gonna post something where someone says something bad about you. But if you can get a client to actually make a video for you on their phone, and they're walking around, maybe their kids are running in the background, maybe they're in the new house, or they're in that new house that they had, or you have a builder that says, hey, these guys took me from, it used to take us X amount of time to build these, now it's down, and they've cut it down in half, and now my profitability's increased, now I get to spend more time with my family because I don't, like, you hit all of those points, all of a sudden you've got a winning ad. Yes?
So, I'm a therapist.
Yeah?
And a lot of the things that are with people are very private, so they're not going to want to say it. Would it be best to use what they say to me and have some actor say?
No, absolutely not. Actors.
How do you get that?
In therapy, you can still get broad terms. They don't have to get personal unless they're, yeah.
Some people will do it, but not.
So try to get the people that will do it, maximize that, and then utilize other written. You can utilize written and use pictures. So one way you can do it is a mashup. You can take someone's written testimonial, add a picture of them with their face, make it real in the actual image, and you can run that as an ad. You can also use it on your landing pages. You can also use it in if you have an office, you can do this. For example, like if you want to get better at sales, one of the greatest things that helps gym owners right now, without them having to say a word, without them having to do anything, we actually tell them that their sales room should be floor to ceiling, wall to wall testimonials. And so when someone walks in, they see hundreds, if not thousands of testimonials and social proof that this person that owns this gym, or this salesperson or this facility can do what they say they can do. And so using that and putting that everywhere is really important. You can go broad. You're going to have clients that don't want to do it. Totally understand. That's okay. Just really focus on the ones that can. And what that will do is lead into people that will. Because here's what's interesting, and what I've found through advertising is that when people come in through testimonials, they're more apt to share their own testimonial later on, because that's how they came in. And so when they come in and you change their life and you ask them, hey, would you mind just shooting me a quick video? They're more apt to do it because that's what attracted them in. And they realize I can pass it on. Make sense? Okay, sweet. Yes?
So she works with people who are getting therapy. How would you do number 2 on those?
How many clients have you worked with? You talking about yourself or for her?
Me.
As an example. You do therapy as well?
Yeah, well, not necessarily therapy, but I work with people in their personal spiritual growth. So I don't know what to use from that place.
So how many
I have
people?
testimonials,
Yep.
and they talk very authentically, and it's beautiful.
How many people have you worked with?
I'm starting out, so about 50.
Okay, so 50. How many positive testimonials do you have, or positive reviews do you have?
They're all positive, but
Great.
in terms of like videos, probably a little more than half.
This would be a little bit different than the actual video aspect. This one is stats and creating authority for you.
Okay.
And so these are the things like I'm the only therapist with all 5-star reviews,
Gotcha.
right? Or I've worked with 50 ex-clients and all of them have been able to transform. And then if you have a blurb or a testimonial to back it up, it's even better. But you got to find those little things that you have that stand out. This is what actually gets very uncomfortable for a lot of people, because now you have to brag about yourself. And you have to come up with a whole bunch of different things. And I think a lot of times, I struggle with this as a gym owner. I didn't use me playing baseball as a way to advertise. But as soon as I actually started doing it, because I was like, it's not really that big of a deal. And then I was like, oh shoot, I'm actually in like the 0.05% of baseball players even little leaguers that actually made it. I was like, maybe I should say that because it's aspirational. And then I took it a step further, and inside of my gym, after working with athletes, professional and college athletes, I got all of the pennants and flags from all of their teams and colleges and put it all around the rafters in my gym. And so when someone walked in, they're like, wow, what are the flags for? And I was like, those represent people that I've worked with and helped achieve starters. They're all starters. They played at the professional level. We're like, wow, you did that? And I'm like, yeah, we did it. I'm like, that's what we do here. And so again, more social proof, all that stuff. But like, with that, the goal is, again, you have to be willing to say all those things that usually your spouse says about you. It's like the best thing. Like they want to praise you and they want to just say all the great things about you. You have to be willing to do the same thing. And sometimes that can be a little bit uncomfortable for people. But if you don't do that, if you don't step out confidently into that, people will never know about you and what you can do. And it's very important to make sure you own that. Tracking with me? Okay. Is this valuable or am I going, is this? Okay, you guys can tell me if you want to go a different direction, by the way. So, okay. You sure? I can stop. You keep going? Okay, cool. All right, next one. This one's really important. I see a lot of advertisers mess this up. One messaging bucket. Per ad. What do I mean by a messaging bucket? Who here knows what a messaging bucket is? It's an angle. It's like, what am I trying to get across? What argument am I trying to prove? Right. What is the angle of this ad? Let me give you an example. If I want to go into and I want to do an ad, I'm not going to talk about, for gym owners, client finance acquisition, how a gym can grow their gym and fill it to capacity without spending a dime out of pocket for marketing, and talk about retention. Those are two totally different messaging buckets. One talks about LTV and extending LTV, and retention's really boring for most gym owners. They don't want to hear about it. And one talks about getting clients and filling their gym to capacity. I will not talk about both. I also will never talk about marketing and leadership in the same one. I won't talk about generating cash and the systems to keeping members longer. I may add it as a quick little blurb, like, oh, we'll help you keep your members twice as long. But if I have one messaging bucket, both in copy and creative, I have one message. That is all I'm trying to get across. Too many times I see people trying to list out all of their features, their benefits, their solutions that they have, and it's too overwhelming. It's how many, for y'all, when you read something, you're like, they do all this stuff. It's like, that just sounds like a lot. I'm like, I'm just not really sure what exactly you do. It sounds like you do too much. You probably aren't that good at it because you're trying to say that you do all these things. Right? And so you really want to make sure that you always focus on one messaging bucket no matter what. All right? And these can fall, I'll just read these off. I actually took some notes on this one. This will help. These can fall into several categories. You got proof, right? So you can use one messaging bucket as just proof. This is our proof that we can do what we say we can do. So we could, from our side, talk about all the gyms that we've helped, all the revenue that we've created, how our systems have generated over $1.5 billion in new fitness revenue in the last 7 years for our clients. That's another thing that I can say that no one else can say, right? Another one would be dream experience. So like this can come as kind of like a highlight. This could be highlight an emotional result or a status increase for someone. So going from not being able to be with their kids to being with their kids, to being in debt to paying off debt, to buying their first house, right? That would be one angle. Do you have a question? Yeah.
So as far as paid ads, you have limited budget. You have one messaging bucket. How do you decide what that one messaging bucket is to get going?
Great question. You're going to have multiple. And you can do that within your campaigns. Okay, so here's how this would work. And this will be broad. So when we run ads, I will shoot roughly anywhere between 20, if it's just me. And this does not count testimonials or image ads. So I will shoot anywhere between 20 to 30 variations of ads. And I will typically take 3 to 5 messaging buckets. And within each one, I will do anywhere between 5 to 10 different variations of those messaging buckets. But we will run all of them at the same time. And so I'll allocate percentages of my budget to figure out which one are the winners, and then I'll pour more money into it as I find out more. But you never want to just start ads with one messaging bucket. You're going to have to test it, right? Because you're not sure which one's going to hit with your clientele, with your prospects, the people that you want to attract. That's a great question. Demonstration of results. You can also do a pitch style video where it's just straight to camera. We do a lot of those as well. What's up?
On that last point, how do you scale that? Like, so you're saying 20, 30 ads. But what business would that apply to, where maybe smaller or larger, you'd go more or less?
Depends on your ROI on that. So one of the biggest, I guess I'll take a tangent real quick. This is really important from a business standpoint. How many of y'all know your LTV of your clients? Okay, some of y'all. You should know your LTV. How many of you know your CAC or know what CAC stands for? Cost to acquire a client. How much, does everyone know what your CAC, like how much it costs you to acquire? Okay, so that's another one that we need to understand. And the ratio that I look at is two things. I look at LTV to CAC, the ratio between that. How much does it cost me to acquire a client versus how much I'm going to make on average from a client? And in most businesses, if you look at investments in tech, 3 to 1 is you can scale. For gyms, it's different though. We found that you need to be 8 to 1 because they're pretty cash strapped. They don't get outside funding. They don't have a ton of cash. And for them to have the cash flow that they need to have an 8 to 1 LTV because they're also selling typically lower ticket items. And so if I have a gym that comes in and they're 3 to 1 on their CAC, their LTV to CAC ratio, they're not going to scale. And they're going to be struggling big time. Another number that I track, this is very, very important for those of you that are just starting out and want to figure out the ROI of your ads, is FECC to CAC ratio. FECC stands for front end cash collected. And that is how much cash do you make at point of sale when you close someone. And so we have this concept that we teach our gym owners, which is cash, which is basically customer finance acquisition. And what we mean by that is my goal, anytime I sell a gym or I have them sell inside of their facility, is that they collect more than twice as much cash, actual cash into the business in their first 30 days of a new client coming in than it costs them to acquire them. So if it costs them $200 to acquire a client, they need to be collecting $400 in the first 30 days. Because what I mean by that is if I just collected $200, cool, I covered the cost to acquire that person, which means I can take that $200. I can't pocket any of it. I have no profit, but I can go out and spend that $200 and acquire a new client. Cool. But like, I don't know about y'all, but I probably don't want to break even every month, right? Kind of want to make some money. And so if I go twice as much, which requires pricing, we have to talk about pricing, sales, all this stuff goes into it. I get twice as much. Not only did I pay, I'm now covered. I can go out and spend that $200 to acquire the next client. I now have $200 where I can go out and either spend it to get more, or I can cover my fulfillment, or I can cover anything else. And that's within the first 30 days. Now this is different for different models. Some of y'all are just one-time sales, right? It's just a one-time thing. I just move along, next, right? But at the same time, those same numbers still apply. And so that's where you'll be able to understand, if you know your numbers, you can know when to scale. But that's what drives everything. Because if I'm not making money, I'm not making sales, then I'm going to have to change the messaging buckets. I'll have to change my ad strategies, change my budget, change potentially a channel, add a channel, if I just cannot get it to work. Cool? Yeah, absolutely. Any questions on the messaging bucket? Make sense? Yes, what's up?
I just have a comment.
Yeah.
Tell your parents they totally kicked ass on the homeschooling.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. My dad will be very thankful. My mom is up in heaven right now listening, and I'm sure she heard that. So I appreciate that. Yeah. I was fortunate enough. My family was, my parents were amazing. They, yeah. They also instilled in me a chance, like this desire to be entrepreneurial and grow, which is really cool. So yeah, amazing. One other thing too, which I think would be very applicable for all of y'all. Rob, I don't know if you do this on your ads, but educational ads. And so this is you're teaching a concept. And maybe you have, everyone here has written a book, right? Okay. Or multiple books, or are about to write a book. So you could take, what we've done is we'll take this concept of like client finance acquisition, right? And I'll teach on client finance acquisition in the ad. And then my call to action is, if you want to learn how to install this in your business, go ahead, click the link, book a call with our team, and I'll see you on the other side. Right? Or you could take.
Give it a taste, not a tease.
Love it. Yes. Love it. And another thing you could do is you could take a chapter or a concept from a book, and you can run an ad on that, the thing that's probably the most popular and going to connect with your ideal prospect, teach on it, and these can be long, by the way. There's this misconception that people have short attention spans. No, your content just sucks. Right? Like, no, because how many people just sit and binge watch shows on Netflix? You're telling me their attention span is so short? No, like they're sitting there for hours on the couch not moving, and it's because the content's amazing. So if your content is better, and if you are speaking to the right person, and you are telling stories, keeping it interesting, you will retain those people. We have great ads that are 5.5 to 10 minutes long. We have winning ads that are that long. We also have winning ads that are literally just an image or a 15-second clip. But it just has to be exceptional. It has to evoke emotion, and it has to be one messaging bucket, and you have to make sure that you are always having a direct call to action on it. But educational is one of my favorite to do because I just love teaching, and it's a very easy thing for us because we have so many concepts that most gym owners don't understand. And it also, when you do that, it positions you as an expert. And so if you have a unique way of doing something and that you found, or a different way to communicate it, you can now educate prospects on how you do that and how you're different. And then it's just like the book example. If I take a chapter or a concept from a book, click the link to get access to all the others. Right? So like we have this lead magnet that we have that's called 7 Money Models. It's about 130 pages. It's basically a book. And it's all these concepts. I'll take one concept, I'll teach on it, and then I'll say we have about 33 other concepts in here that have helped grow over 6,000 gyms and build over 200 seven-figure gyms. If you want access to this, go ahead and click the link. If you like this, click the link, download the app, download the PDF. We'll see you on the other side. All right? And so there's lots of different ways you can do that. Okay. Yes?
In this number 4 of one messaging bucket, you started to give a list of uses.
Yes.
I call it uses. One was proof.
Yes.
Dream experience.
Yep.
You got some more?
Yep. So proof, dream experience. So this one would be more emotional. So like home with the kids every night, gym owner buys their first house, pays off debt, wife retires from job, dream vacation, first investment, right? All these things. We just had a gym owner, I'm going to run it as an ad. We just had a gym owner, he messaged me and I have a screenshot of it. He's like, I just hit $1 million net worth. And so like that's an amazing ad, right? The other one would be demonstration of results. So show what our clients are doing. This can be through testimonials, case studies, or it can be direct to camera explanations. Okay, so you can do a walkthrough. And this is different than just showcasing a testimonial ad. This would be you actually doing an ad talking about a client and telling their story and then showing proof. And then the other one would be a pitch style video. This would be just straight to camera. You sell the system or vehicle. One of the concepts of this is you can use feel, felt, found. And basically what this means is like feel is I understand you. And so you have a connection and empathize with them. And then the felt is there's other people like you. You're not alone. There are other people that have the same problem. So you're not at fault. It's not your fault that you're feeling this way. Other people have this, right? So for me, it's like, are you struggling to grow your gym? Have you been wanting to do that for years and yet you still just can't figure out a way to do that? You're not alone because there are thousands of gym owners right now. In fact, the average gym owner in the United States makes $22,000 a month top line with 10.5% net margins. And they're struggling. And 81% of gyms go out of business. So you're not alone. It's the reason why is because gym owners have been sold a lie. That there's a different business model. That's a broken business model that gym owners are using. But here at Gym Launch, after working with over 6,000 gyms, we have a proven playbook and a system to be able to build gyms from where they are to massively profitable to $1 million gyms in 12 months or less. Right? And so now you take them from I understand you, I understand what it's like, you're not alone, to here's a unique mechanism, and then you can even add social proof and all this stuff into it. Make sense? Yeah. Should use some of these for ads. Yeah, feel, felt, found. Yep. By the way, really good ad for those of you if you do events. Best ad that you could possibly do would be you get everyone, if you do events and you make people money, have them write down, give them all pieces of paper and Sharpies, have them write down how much money they made through your program or book or whatever it is that you have in your service. Have them write it down and then go through and shoot an ad of like, hey, instead of me just telling you all the results that we make for our clients, let me just show you. And then you just walk around and it's like Susie made $100,000, Johnny made $2 million, and you just walk and they're just holding it up. It's one of the greatest ads that will ever, it smashes every single time. Really easy, very authentic too. And then educational. Educational was the last one. Yep. Okay. Rob, you're gonna have to tell me to go faster probably. Some of these are pretty short, but all right, number 5. Thou shalt always have a reason why. Because, the word because is one of the most powerful words in the English language. How many of you, you're probably familiar with the Xerox study that Langer did way back in the day on having a reason why you want to just skip in front, right? Yeah. Is everyone familiar with that one? Right? They asked 3 questions. it just goes to show that we're basically programmed as humans. If you just give me a basic reason, I'm probably just going to go ahead and let you go through, because all I want to know is what's the actual reason. Is there a reason why? And so anytime that we run promotions or advertising, you should always give a reason why. And here's what's even more powerful about this is that when you do this, it creates more trust. Because obviously it has to be authentic. It can't be something where you just make it up. Right? It's my dog's birthday, which is still a legitimate reason. But you could do that as an ad, but you always want to make sure that I'm doing this promotion or this sale or I'm offering this because of this. And this is why. This is a short concept. I don't have to get too deep into this, but your copy should always have this. So in your copy should always have a reason why. Especially if you have a promotion where, do you guys do like, Rob, you talk about the free book, right? You can get the book for free, pay for shipping? Yep. Yeah, have a reason why. You need a legitimate reason for that, right? I want to get this book out to as many people as possible. I'm doing this, like for us, we run ads for gyms and we run a free 6-week challenge. And our reason why is because we want to change more lives and get testimonials. And so we want to change lives, help people lose weight, and we want to get a boatload of testimonials, right?
So the reason why I'm offering because, or you should buy because?
No, the reason why you're offering.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep, the reason why. Because you're going to tell, like through your stories and what you have, why they should buy. That should happen naturally without them feeling like they're being sold. You need to give them a reason why you're actually offering this.
So if you're writing a book, you want to say, I'm writing the book because, you want to have that like right up front?
Yeah, because then you're telling the story of what's the reason that actually got you to think about even writing a book. What's the problem that you saw that you're now trying to provide a solution for? Or what was a struggle that you had before and that you saw so many other people have, and you're writing this book to help solve that problem, right? None of y'all would think I'm a baseball player after that. That was rough. When someone has a reason, well, I need you to do this because of this, and you just accept everything after because. A lot of time, how many of you have ever just like tuned out? Like your kid comes up to you and it's like, hey, I'm going to do this because, and you're just like, tune out. It's like, cool, that's fine, do it, as long as the first thing that they said is not going to kill them, right? It happens all the time. We got to take this off. All right, so next one, thou shalt own your flaws. We talk about this, damaging admissions. This one is very, very important. Anybody seen 8 Mile? Right? That part where Eminem just goes through and he just says all of his like worst stuff. I will not repeat it, but he talks about it, he just owns it. It's really important for us to have damaging admissions in our copy and in our creative. It doesn't mean that you always have to have it, but it is very important. So for me, right, I started this process telling you about how much I sucked at business and told you I made no money. These are my damaging admissions. I was terrible. I didn't know anything about business, any of this stuff, until I found all this stuff out and I learned it and I implemented it, and now all of a sudden turned around my life, business, all this stuff. When you are writing copy and doing this, you should always include a damaging admission, right? The mess is the message. And one of the things that we used to do in our gym, and I'll give you an example of this, in our gym, it wasn't the nicest, most beautiful, up-to-date facility. We would tell people that in the ad, in the copy, and we would say, we don't have the prettiest facility, we don't have the nicest locker rooms, we don't have the cleanest, like the coolest showers. In fact, we only have 1 shower. And we'd say that, and then we would say the second most powerful word, which is but. And anything after but, they would believe and have a greater kind of anchor and meaning to those, whatever we said afterwards, because we had already given and created trust by telling them what we were bad at and what we didn't have. So now it's like, but we know every member by name, and I guarantee that you will lose 20 pounds in 6 weeks or I'll give you all your money back. It's like, okay, well, if I want to lose weight and I want to go to a place where I can have a relationship with a gym owner and their trainers and people know my name and I can have fun and I can lose weight, probably going to go there, right? And so there's also lots of people that don't care about that. Well, guess what? Drew the line in the sand. These are the people that I want. These are the people that I don't. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm going to write this up here real quick. Let's do, yeah. When you own your flaws, make them real, and always add in but afterwards. Always. I'm just saying that again. Always, because people will remember that, and people will have a higher likelihood of actually believing it. Okay? All right, next one. The headline. Thou shalt always remember that the headline and the hook of your ads are 80% of your advertising. 80% of your time should be spent on the hook and the headline. Because if you can't grab someone's attention, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. I don't care what you have, people just keep scrolling, right? This goes back to the attention span thing. It's not that, it's just your hooks suck, your content sucks. And I say you, I mean like everyone, me included. If my stuff doesn't work, it's because it just sucks. Because the marketplace is the one that decides, okay? So 80% of your time on headlines and hooks. Now, do you guys want to know a very simple way to write great headlines?
Yes.
Sweet. Okay, let's walk through it real quick. And then I'm actually probably, if you guys want to, we can write headlines real quick on this as well. So let's walk through an example of this. Everyone know who here knows the value equation according to Alex Hormozy on creating amazing offers? Okay, let me draw it out for you. Value equation is this. It is dream outcome. I'm just going to put dream. Perceived likelihood. Was it I before E except after C? I don't know. If it's misspelled, I apologize. I let my mom down. So this one is what's the likelihood of success that they're going to get from your program or offering? Time delay. How long is it going to take until I see success? Times effort and sacrifice. How much work is it going to take to actually get the result, the dream outcome that I want? The goal here is to increase this in all of your ads and your offers and decrease these. This is how you create and communicate value. Now, this is created at first for creating offers. And so this is one of the, I believe I had this as a 10 commandment, is just you have to have an irresistible offer. Yeah, we'll start. I'll just get that right now. I'll hit this right now. You have to have an irresistible offer, and this is how you create it. You think of the dream outcome of the person that you're trying to sell. What do they want? For us as gym owners, they want more members, they want more profit, and they want more freedom. And so for us, we figure out, we showcase in our offers how we're going to get them there. Perceived likelihood of success is social proof and guarantees. So how much, what's the actual chance of success that they will have, right? We build a new gym. We have a new $1 million gym minted every 12.7 days, right? Like all these little things. Time delay is how long is it going to take before I start seeing success, and how long is it going to take till I get to my dream outcome? There's two totally different things, by the way. Because I could see a little bit of success, but I'm not to my dream outcome. But if this takes me 6 months to see it, I'm probably not too happy, depending on what I got, what the advertisement was, and what I'm signing up for. Effort and sacrifice is how much effort and sacrifice I'm going to have to make this thing actually work. And your goal is to decrease how long it takes to get to success, and decrease how much effort and sacrifice they have. And if you can communicate this and wrap an offer around this, then you will have an irresistible offer, and this makes advertising so much easier. For example, here at Gym Launch, it costs $41,000 a year to work with us. But they can start for $0 down, pay nothing for 2 weeks, get access to our organic acquisition playbook, make an average of $25,000 in new cash to their business before ever paying us a dime. And I guarantee that in 12 months, they'll add $100,000 in new revenue to their business, or I'll refund every dime that they invested with us, and I'll reimburse any ad spend that they had up to $18,000 in our program. And the reason I can do that is because we've worked with over 6,000 gyms, and our average gym lord, our name of our clients, adds over $216,000 in new revenue and over $105,000 in profit to their business after their first 12 months of working with us. Right? Notice how, okay, I took out any of the possibility. I'm like, if it doesn't work, I'm going to give you your money back. Oh, by the way, I'm also going to reimburse your ad spend. So you actually have no losses at all. And I have all this social proof, and I have all these reasons why that we can do this. And so that type of offer, because I'm telling them they want to grow their business, they want to make more money. And so wrap it into that. And if you can do this, you're going to make it a lot easier for you to be able to sell and advertise. It makes it a lot easier. Like we're about to launch our zero down ads. And if y'all follow Gym Launch, you'll be able to see them. In fact, I have some ads some stuff that we shot. I can show you guys what we did later if you want. But when you have this irresistible offer, this is where it's at. Now, that is one of the commandments as well, is you have to have an irresistible offer. I'll write it on the board in just a second so y'all have it. But when it comes to the headlines, which is another commandment, is you can use this to write a headline. And so let me show you an example on this. I wrote this down so I don't mess this up. Dream outcome for a gym. And I'm going to give you gym examples. So I apologize if it has no relation to what y'all do at all. This is just my realm, and I have to only tell you what we do. So on the dream outcome, let's say the starting of it is fill your gym to capacity. Dream outcome. That's the first part of the headline. Okay? The second part of the headline would be the perceived likelihood of success. Okay? Guaranteed. So now it's fill your gym to capacity, guaranteed. Then the next part is time delay. And now I could say fill your gym to capacity, guaranteed in 90 days. And then effort and sacrifice. Fill your gym to capacity, guaranteed in 90 days without wasting hours, handing out flyers, DMing strangers, or selling your soul. And now I've got a headline. All right? That headline could be for the funnel. I could use a part of it for the first sentence in the ad. I could do whatever I want. But when you use this value equation, this is literally the framework that you can use to make exceptional headlines to grab people's attention. Yes?
How do you hold them accountable when you're doing all of that? Do you add
We have stipulations. Yep, so we have a ton of tracking. They have to show up to all their coaching calls. They have to do what their coach tells them to do when they tell them to do it. They have to track all their data in a software that we use, a revenue intelligence software that we created. And they have to not miss any payments. If they do all that, they're going to make a lot more than $200,000. A lot more than $100,000 too. So, and they also have to spend a minimum of $2,500 a month on ads because we run their ads for them. Does that make sense? Cool. Okay. Let's see. I think it was that 10? 7? Oh yeah, I missed a couple actually. I scrolled down. There we go. All right, sweet. That was 8. I think I have 2 more, right?
Irresistible offer was 8, right?
Yep. Irresistible offer was 8. So I'm going to put 8 here. I'll just put offer here. Got to have a grand slam offer.
We're going to talk specifically about that this afternoon, for those of you working on that.
Hopefully I didn't mess up any of what you're going to talk about. Rob comes up and he's like, don't listen to anything Cale said. That was the dumbest thing ever.
The order of the event is the order of the event.
Cool. All right. So the next thing on this would be right at a 3rd grade level. All your copy and how you communicate should be at a 3rd grade level unless you're trying to sell to professors. Okay? I hear mumbling, so I'm curious. What are your thoughts on this? Because you're writing books.
I'm gonna have to work on getting my 1st grade level.
That's even better. That's even better. Please. The lower the level, the better. I don't know what this... Yeah, crayon's even better. Yes. That actually would be a great ad. If you took a picture of something and just scribbled across, that actually would be... Because it would catch someone's attention. It'd be a great ad. But the 3rd grade level is really important because there's a high percentage of people that are just basically illiterate. And so that's just base level. They just don't know how to read. Then there's a whole nother percentage of people that have no concept of writing or communication past roughly a 3rd to 5th grade level. And we never want to make our prospects have to think. Copy should be crystal clear. The point of it is that someone can understand it as quickly as possible. It is way harder to take a very complex concept and dumb it down than it is to just write about a complex issue. Right? Everyone here is an expert. You could probably go on and use jargon that's associated with what you know, and you could talk about all this stuff. And like for some of y'all, you'll talk about stuff, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I used LTV and CAC. If you're not familiar with LTV and CAC, that's like jargon. And if someone doesn't understand it, I need to write it in a way, and I need to communicate it in a way where everyone can understand it, right? And so it's like, how much do you make per client on average over the course of their time with you? It's long-winded, but it's like, how much can you collect from a client, right? Instead of saying LTV, which hopefully most business owners like that we talk to, we educate them on these aspects, but a lot of people don't understand that. And so all of your copy should do that. An app, the Hemingway app, you can run all your copy through that. and then it will just test it. Set it to a third grade level, and you can just have it just look at it, and it will tell you which sentences and highlight which sentences you need to adjust to dumb it down. Another thing with copy, you should always write in one line. So it's this, enter, this. 1 to 2 sentences, no more than that on your copy. Do not write paragraphs, please. No one reads them. No one, ever. I don't even read emails that are paragraphs. If someone sent me an email and it was paragraphs, I'm like, I'm not reading this. Just don't, like I'm just not going to. This is why it's really important from advertising. And in life, I think in general, in leadership, our goal is to make it as simple as possible for people to do their jobs or buy from us. And so if it takes me a little bit more time to think through how I communicate things, but it makes it faster for them to be able to download the information and then go take action on it, then I have won. And so it is my job, the onus is on me, it's my responsibility to take the extra time to do that. And when you're writing, this is how your copy should be. It is literally 1, maybe 2 sentences, enter, next line. 1, 2, enter, next line. I can't tell you how many times I have a sentence in copy and I have it and it's long, but it really, if I brought it up all together into that, it'd be maybe like 2 paragraphs, but I just spread it out because it's just easier to read. It's like bullet points. Everyone loves lists. Everyone loves all that stuff. It's like headline. It's like mini headlines. I'm just reading mini headlines, and it keeps a person engaged. Another thing with third grade level is write according to the way your prospects talk. When I talk about gyms, I don't talk about clubs or fitness facilities and all this stuff. I talk about their box. If I'm talking to CrossFit gym owners, right? CrossFit box, affiliates. I talk about cleans, snatches, squats, deadlifts, undulating programs. I talk about their type of programming. I talk about cleaning toilets. I talk about mopping the floors. I talk about all the different things that gym owners have to face, wearing all the hats, having Susie complain about how the music is too loud, right? We talk about all those things that connect with that person to let them know that I understand them, and I've been there. And so all your copy has to do the exact same thing. And my suggestion too is even if you work with or sell to a highly intelligent crowd, we all still love to have something really simple because it saves me time and effort. And if I can use less brain space and brain power to figure out what you're actually trying to sell me, I'm more likely to buy. Tracking with me? Good? Okay, sweet. All right. Number 10, last one. I'm going to take a step further from the ad side, and this is a basic one. I should have probably ended on a different one, but thou shalt always have congruency in your funnels. Does everyone use funnels to sell? Some sort of landing page, everybody? Okay. Has anyone ever clicked on an ad and you're intrigued by it and you go to the funnel and it's saying stuff that really just doesn't align with what you saw on the ad? Yeah. Right? Happens all the time. Those are terrible marketers. And how many of you actually bought? Probably just made you more confused. Yeah. Confused prospects don't buy. And so when you're building anything or you have someone doing this, always make sure that you have congruency in what is being said in the ad, what you're saying on the ad, or the image, the copy, and what the funnel is. Here's the thing that makes it difficult, is because if I have different messaging buckets, I may have to build out multiple different landing pages. Sometimes it has to happen. It just is what it is. But if I want to win and I want to do it, it just takes a little bit more time. And so always make sure you double check, triple check, and if you have an agency running it, make sure you triple check it, and make sure that there's congruency from the ad to the funnel and every step of the funnel and what you're doing, so that your prospects aren't confused. Cool?
Yes, cool.
Okay, sweet. Real quick, highlight, and then I ran over, I apologize. Good. Just if anybody's taking notes, here's what we got. 10 commandments, thou shalt only master one channel at a time. Thou shalt say what no one else can say and show what no one else can show. Commandment number 3, thou shalt always evoke emotion with your creative, whether it's images, copy can still be part of the creative, and video. Thou shalt only use one messaging bucket per ad. Don't confuse them. Thou shalt always have a reason why. Thou shalt own your own flaws. Use damaging admissions. Use them, please. Own them. Thou shalt write ad copy at a 3rd grade level or lower. Gary Halbert said, he's one of the greatest copywriters in the world, in a cluttered world, simple copy cuts through the noise. So make your copy clear, not clever. Too many times, especially if we're writers and we enjoy writing, we're like, oh, I want to just be very creative. No, it's like short, bullet points. Make it clear, not clever. Thou shalt always double check your funnel for congruency, and thou shalt always have an irresistible offer. Otherwise, I don't care how good you are at advertising. If you don't have a good offer, good luck. Cool?
Cool.
All right, sweet.
I have a couple of questions that I want to pose to Cale, but we also want to open it up to any questions that you guys might have, although I know you did ask questions along the way. So what we have in the room, business owners, authors, soon-to-be authors, people working on their book.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a stage prior to this stage and all that you've learned and grown in that you were terrified to push the button, right, and start your first ad.
Almost threw up on my keyboard.
Even the week before that, you didn't even know what
No
it
idea.
looked like to write an ad.
Nope, no idea.
Or how all of that might play out,
Yep.
right? You had to learn it. I wonder if you could take just a couple of minutes and talk about like that experience, because you experienced success pretty fast because you followed some simple principles and practices.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe talk about some of that emotional journey, because there are certainly a number of people here that have to dial in their offer, and even the advertising world is a little bit of a mystery. So would that
Yeah.
be helpful for those of you that maybe aren't a little further along the process? So maybe share some of what that was for you.
Yeah, it was really rough. I think the biggest thing that I had to overcome was my own ego, and my own ego in the thought of I thought more people knew who I was or what my brand was, and I needed to be perfect. And I also, my ego of I thought I knew everything, which obviously I did not. I remember, it's funny, I was talking to some gym owners the other day on a call. I remember hopping on a call with Layla Hormozy, Alex's wife, when she was selling. So Alex Hormozy sold me, and I was number 13, I think, in the program. And when I hopped on and I'm talking to Layla, she's asking me questions about the gym and all this stuff, and I started regurgitating what I then listened to thousands of gym owners say, and I laugh at it now, but it was very true for me. And I told her my community's great, my gym is amazing, no one leaves my gym. And I started posturing and telling her all these things about like how great my gym was, when on the background, I'm 8 weeks away from shutting my doors.
Right.
Like 2 weeks before that, I sat down with my wife and I was like, we're closing this down. Like, we can't keep doing this. And I'd gotten a job to put food on the table. I had my job, I had a $60K base, and I thought I was the richest person in the world. I was like, I'm making $60,000 a year. I'm good, I'm set, this is amazing. And
Done with this gym stuff.
yeah, done, like I'm out. This sucks. Like, I don't want to do this. And my ego was the biggest thing that got in the way. And the reason why I was successful with Gym Launch, not only is it just the program works, but I did it to a T, and I didn't try to do my own thing.
That's good.
And I'd been a part of coaching programs before, and I'd always had this ego as like, that's not really gonna work. I'm gonna tweak it a little bit. I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna do my own little thing. And it's like, no, just do the basics. Follow a proven system. Like, if I wanna get across a frozen lake, the safest and fastest and most guaranteed way to get across a frozen lake is to follow the footsteps in front of me.
Gotcha.
And so like, just follow proven steps. So for me, it was going from being someone who thought I knew what was going on to just being willing to just give it all up and let someone else tell me what to do.
Love that. Love that. That's awesome. So follow-up question to that, and obviously anybody else that has any questions. Follow-up question to that for me would be, you obviously experienced some success pretty fast with the things that you learned in Gym Launch.
Yes.
But experiencing fast success doesn't mean that it was a smooth path.
Nope.
At least I've found that to be true.
It's never smooth.
I screw up things all the time. So what were some of the, even after you experienced some of that initial success, what were some of the challenges that you faced in the advertising and sales? And because you were doing everything was new, right? How you closed a client, and right, everything was new. So what were some of the pitfalls, challenges that you had along the bumpiness of the path?
First mistake I ever made was I stopped advertising after our first challenge.
Okay.
For a little bit, I took a break. That was the biggest mistake I ever made
Right.
in the business.
Why was that a big mistake?
Because I was so I spent $1,100 and I made $38,000 in cash in 10 days.
Right.
Like,
Okay.
let's just
That was a big mistake. Yeah. You don't have to go and do it.
I don't even have to do it anymore. Like, I just stopped because I was like, obviously, it was the first time we had that many clients, and
Yeah.
we're feeling overwhelmed. It's like, I get it, that's real at the time, but I should have just kept advertising and selling.
Right.
Other bigger issues that I had was scaling, because once you fix one problem, so we think of like businesses through 5 primary functions. You've got lead generation, lead nurture, sales, fulfillment, and retention / ascension. And once you fix one, the next bottleneck usually is the next bullet point in that list. And so once I fix lead gen, well, now lead nurture, getting people to schedule and show becomes the next thing.
Right.
And so it was just learning quickly that it's a business. I'm not going to build a machine, an automated machine. A business is like a garden, and I'm going to have to tend it. And there's going to be constantly things that pop up, and it's my job as the owner to, number one, live in my business, understand it, identify problems, and then go in and help fix those problems. So that was like a big one for me.
Love it.
Say those 5 again, lead gen, nurture,
Lead generation, lead nurture, sales, fulfillment, and then retention / ascension.
Awesome.
Yep. There's others. There's 2 others. There's like teams, so leadership, and then finances. But most of the time, when we think about just the core aspects of the business.
Any other aspects? Any other negatives? Any other challenges or pitfalls?
Yeah, it's a lot more.
besides that?
It's a lot more work than you actually think it is.
Okay, good.
The amount of work that it takes to be successful in anything is much more. It's usually 10 times more or 100 times more than what we think it is. And you have to be willing to put in an unreasonable amount of work
Yeah.
that no one else understands or knows. Like, I think about your story and the amount of work you had to put in. Like, no one even, like, you could talk about it, but no one actually understands it
Yeah.
unless they've done it. And you think of the hours, the weeks, the months, the years that you spent just grinding just to build the $100 million business, right? And then coming back and how much it takes. You probably built it more efficiently and faster with your knowledge and what you have, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that it was easy.
I can attest to how hard.
Yeah. This is why if someone is ever successful, I immediately know that they work 100 times harder than everyone else. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody says. I have an immediate respect for someone because the scoreboard from a money standpoint, now their life might be a mess. They might be terrible. Humans, doesn't matter. But like from a scoreboard of tracking that, I know that it takes work. And the marketplace always decides, and it always takes an unreasonable amount of work to be successful.
Good, good.
Cale, what's your favorite platforms right now to advertise on? And like, are all of them, any of them, one of them? Like,
Facebook and just Meta. Facebook and Instagram right now currently are our best platforms. Google's okay. Google's going to adjust a little bit with AI and everything that they have. TikTok does not work for us. TikTok Shop though, if I'm selling e-com, TikTok Shop, I would be on there right now. You could make a quick buck real fast. You can make $100,000, $200,000 a month like that, doing that.
Do you do coaching?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I do.
what about YouTube?
YouTube, not bad. I'm curious though, how many ads do you click on and go to when you watch YouTube?
Yeah.
I pay to not have any.
Yeah.
In case we wanted to look up Alex, how do you spell his last name?
HORMOZI, Hormozy. All good.
I'm very curious to know, I have this thing that I say about going to the gym all the time.
Yeah.
And most people agree with me. You are not going to go to the gym unless it becomes part of who you are.
Yeah, your identity has to shift.
Because we'll use any excuse in the world not to go.
Mm-hmm.
But it becomes part of who you are. And the other question, just curious if that you agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other thing is, what's more important? Is it the client or is it the gym owner? Or it really is just a matter of...
To me,
Yeah.
the gym owner.
Well, I mean, you're getting you're getting these gyms open, or the owners are opening these gyms.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all contingent on how the client is going to do what they have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So is it just a matter of both, or is one more important than the other?
Yeah, so we give them all of the systems that they need in the gym, from retention to training to everything that they need from their processes. Like we're like an MBA in gym business, and we have a lot of done-for-you services that we also offer to, again, reduce time delay and effort and sacrifice in our offers. But we give them all of that so that their clients get exceptional results, so that the gym owner is successful. But we do all of that. Yes, I genuinely want to impact millions of lives through our gym owners, but I am loyal to gym owners. And so that is who I serve, and so I do everything I possibly can.
That is the client for them.
That is my client.
Yeah.
The end user, their clients are not my clients.
That's right.
And
Yep.
the last thing is, how do you combat when you're doing all the
Different business model.
They just crush them.
Yeah, it's just,
Crush them
it's a different
like
business
the
model.
cockroaches they are.
Yeah, different business model. So we do work with health clubs. So like, we'll work with Snap Fitness, Anytime Fitness, Wolf Fitness. We worked with Gold's Gyms. We work with them as well. They just have two totally different business models. So health clubs, which are your typical, when you think gym, those are like what most people think of a gym as a health club. Those are literally just a leasing, it's just a leasing business. They lease space and equipment to people, and it's all up to you. Most of our gyms that we work with are independent studios and large group or semi-private training facilities, and their business model is built on people actually showing up and getting results.
Yeah.
So the answer is you really,
So,
it's a little different.
it's two totally different, but we work with both.
Bob had a question?
Yes.
First of all, pure gold, thank you so much.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
So much good stuff there. We'd like for you to settle a bet we have back here. What position did you play, and what was the highest batting average you had?
At what stage? That's the question.
At your best.
Collegiate level.
Position-wise, did you?
Shortstop.
Shortstop.
Yeah.
Up the middle, yeah, you look like a
Yeah.
short.
Well, I was also 40 pounds lighter when I played pro ball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then the best batting average you ever had in a single year?
Okay, so Little League was like 738. So college was, I believe my best was, I think it was just 347, college my senior year. And then pro ball, spring training, across 30 some odd games, hit 438 before I got released.
And got released. Good Lord.
Well, when I'm 23 and you got a 17-year-old who has more genetic ability in his right arm than I do in my entire body. Yeah, it's a business. So,
Love it.
yeah.
One last question.
That wasn't the question, I just wanted to say your commitment absolutely comes through your presentation.
Oh,
And
thank you.
your character, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I say that. Also, and at the same time, it's so rare, for the host ever to come in and ask the swan to be a duck, what's your mess, what's the, it's just so rare, because usually the swan's up here, and the host never says, oh, could you just stop a minute and tell me how many times you shit all over the floor? And thank you for that, because it's so rare.
I actually am going to start, one of my lead magnets that I'm going to start is my mistakes. And so I'm just going to have a running document, a Google Doc, and I'm just going to start listing all the way back from my first gym that I owned, and I'm just going to start documenting every mistake and then just make it free for everyone. And so just walk through the lessons that I learned. But like, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Love for Cale. 3, 2, 1.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
I appreciate it, man.
Love you, man.